Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another BRAP rant. Wow. I mean, the plot thickens, right? We're going to talk about the latest in the Xbox rumors that are going around right now. We started the week with Starfield's coming to PlayStation 5. Now we're hearing that that's not true. There's been some discussion around leaks coming out of the Xbox division or Microsoft. This thing is just spun out of control, I guess. I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. I really don't. It's just really interesting. But do me a favor, everyone. Please hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you're alerted when we go live. I need to actually retweet this here. Just a second. I'm sorry, I'm reading the BRAP DMs right now. We're talking about this at BRAP right now. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just reading. We're B Money and Slomo are discussing this in the BRAP DMs right now. But anyhow, I need to retweet this link. Let everyone know we're live, and I'm going to drop the link here in the live chat. If you could do me the same, if you could do me a favor and do the same. All right, here we go. Just retweet the link. All right, let's go. Okay. Slomo just tweeted out, big shout out to Slomo Backslap, says, you don't need a business event to show up and say, none of it's true. Thanks for coming and enjoy your day. See, that's the thing too. This thing is, I gotta be, and I was, I don't like, this is very, and I was just talking to Lord Cognito on text message, and I said to him, I said, this is very reminiscent of being a Washington Commanders fan during the Dan Snyder era. Like, I don't know what's happening. I just, it's funny. At the same time, maddening though. And I don't understand. Like, I just don't just come out and say, look, it's not happening. Like, these things are not happening. So like, I don't disagree with Slomo. Like, you don't need an event to say that, hey, Starfield isn't coming to other platforms. But if we were to believe that this was leaked to kind of cause this uproar, and perhaps that leak has led to internal discussions of what games are going to be released on other platforms, yeah, I think that would make sense. None of this just makes sense. But one of the things I want to talk about today is, should Xbox fans be upset? Because I have seen some individuals who are influencers, who are pundits in the gaming space, say that people should wait. Why are you getting upset? You should wait. Look, we'll talk about that here in just a second, but I also want to talk about the slap heard around the world. Let's talk about that. If you're a professional wrestling fan, I'll never refer to it as sports entertainment, by the way. I just can't do it. It is professional wrestling. It is not sports entertainment. That is a name that Vince McMahon, alleged creep, although I think where there's smoke, there's fire. If you're a professional wrestling fan, you've probably been following the latest accusations and lawsuits, or I should say lawsuit in particular, with Vince McMahon. And yeah, so I'll never refer to professional wrestling as sports entertainment. But anyhow, the slap heard around the world. So the WWE had a press event in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile, is it Arena? I think it's Arena. Imagine that great timing, by the way, in the WWE's part, to host a pre-WrestleMania press conference event, or to officially kick off the road to WrestleMania 40, which is going to be in Philadelphia this year. I thought about going. I kind of regret now, because Philadelphia is only about 2 hours from where I live, 2.5 hours. I probably should have gone. I didn't go though. Now I'm regretting it. And I was looking at tickets, and they're like $800 for like nosebleeders. I may go. Who knows? But anyhow, the slap heard around the world. So many wrestling fans were very upset. If you follow professional wrestling on social media, if you listen to some of the YouTube or professional wrestling content creators, Everyone was kind of surprised. Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble. Everyone's surprised that he brings out The Rock last Friday's SmackDown. And by the way, I'm going to try to wrap up the show just in time for SmackDown because I want to see what the fallout's going to be. Actually, what time is SmackDown again? Oh, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, on Fox. So I have about 50 minutes or so to cram all this information into this BRAP rant. But they, so The Rock comes out. Well, Cody Rhodes introduces The Rock. The Rock confronts Roman Reigns. People are upset that that Cody, who won the Royal Rumble, may not be wrestling Roman Reigns. He may not get a chance to finish his story. And we have this event, and The Rock comes out. Roman Reigns says, "Look, like I'm gonna pick who I'm going to wrestle at WrestleMania." And he chooses The Rock. The Rock comes out. They talk, blah blah blah. Cody Rhodes comes out. They start. Cody Rhodes like, "Nah, I won the Royal Rumble. You don't get to make that pick, Roman Reigns." And he says, Cody says, "Hey, look, I'm actually gonna be the challenger." Roman Reigns challenger at WrestleMania. I'm going to wrestle him, and there's some words back and forth about each other. The Rhodes family and the Rocks, and I'm probably not doing what happened justice, but you should probably watch the video if you haven't done already. The press conference if you haven't done so already, and the Roman Reigns makes a comment about Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, who I grew up watching. Cody fires back and says, "Hey, if your grandfathers, The Rock and Roman, your grandfather were alive, they'd be ashamed of you." And then The Rock steps in and is like, "Hey, you're not going to talk about my family," slaps Cody Rhodes. And I'm like, whoa, talk about a swerve. I got to say, and I've said this, I don't know if I've said this on this show, but I know I've said it to friends who watch professional wrestling. The bloodline has been one of the best stories in professional wrestling. In my time, 40 years watching professional wrestling is one of the better stories. And talk about episodic content here, storytelling. This, to me, was masterful by the WWE. They had people on the internet. Cody, I think it was We Want Cody was trending at some point on X. To me, this is like brilliant. It feels okay. Obviously, we know it's not real, but it does feel real. Like the attitude, the hostility. If you watch the video that you see here, The Rock cursing out Triple H. I mean, it was really. I thought it was done well. I mean, talk about a swerve that no one expected. Swagback says the bloodline has been carrying WWE. Yeah, I don't disagree to an extent. That's the hottest story. And I don't think we're done. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg with The Rock being in WWE. So it's going to be, there's some speculation, some discussion around night one, because remember, WrestleMania is a 2-night event. I remember when it was only one night, but now it's a 2-night event. And it's rumored that, well, it's not rumor, I should say. There's speculation, chatter, that maybe we'll see a tag team match night one in the main event between, well, with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins facing The Rock and Roman Reigns. So we'll see if any of that comes true, but great story. Yesterday's press conference, it was very entertaining. This is one of the better storylines that I've seen in quite some time. All right, so let's move on to gaming. I want to talk because I just wanted to talk about that because I thought that was great. And I wasn't anticipating that swerve, almost heel turn of The Rock. I just wasn't expecting that. All right, let me retweet. I need to retweet something, or not retweet. I need to drop the links here in Discord. Give me a second here. All right. And you know, with all the madness that's going on right now, with what Xbox is going to do with their first-party exclusives, do they go full third-party? Is Starfield coming? We don't know. We have some video game releases. Helldivers 2 came out. Foe Masters came. Did I say Foe Masters? I did say Foe Masters, didn't I? Foam Stars. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Foam Masters. Yeah, Foam Stars released 10 reviews right now. It's currently at a 59 Metacritic. So it's not really being. It's only 10 reviews. It's not really being reviewed very well. The user score is 6.3, so it's almost on par with what the reviews are. The 10 reviews being reported here on Metacritic. So I have not played Foam Stars. I don't have any interest in playing Foam Stars. But that game did release. And then Helldivers 2 seems to be doing pretty well. My grandkids love Foam Stars. Well, that's awesome, Captain Play. There's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. There's some people that are going to enjoy this game. I don't have any doubt about that. My kids love Paw Patrol. I don't think Paw Patrol is up there for one of the Metacritic best games of the year. So, yeah, I haven't seen I haven't seen any Helldivers 2 stuff yet. Let me look that up real quick. Helldivers 2. Here we go. Yeah, I'm not seeing any reviews here, any critic reviews on Metacritic. Some of the based on 83 user ratings, it sits at a 6.5. I don't put much stock into user ratings on Metacritic anyway. We've talked about it on this show. You may have heard Logic talk about it. The benchmark for user scores is Steam. So let me go to Steam here real quick. As soon as I pull up Steam, now available, Helldivers 2, and right under the PAL World. Let me go to Helldivers here. Yes, I'm old enough to view the content. Steam, thank you for asking, though. All right, so out of 13,290 reviews on Steam, it is currently mostly positive right now. So there you have it. So mostly positive reviews on Steam. 72% of the 13,290 user reviews for this game are positive. So there you go. It's 72%. I have seen some gameplay. It does look pretty fun as a co-op PvE. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to... It currently retails for $40, so it might be something that I pick up. I'm not entirely sure. Does remind me of Starship Troopers, the game, the movie. I know the last, the first Helldivers, I believe came out in 2019. I believe that game, from a Metacritic perspective, was at an 81. I might check this out. We'll see. Might check this out. I know Slow-Mo, I think Slow-Mo's going to be hopping on tonight or maybe tomorrow, he said. Wow, Tom Henderson is questioning Nate the Hate. I mean, this is going to happen. I mean, this is when you report stuff like this. That's why I stopped talking about things I hear. Unless I hear other people talking about it. Because it's easy to hear a lot. And look, things change. Plans change. Development issues come up. Companies shift strategies. It happens. All right, let me see here. Trying to get Slow-Mo to come on. Come on, Slow-Mo, join. I'm DMing the guys here. All right. All right. Yeah. So, and then Helldivers, I think, was on Steam at least, like, had the second highest player count or concurrent player count behind God of War Ragnarok. So, it seems to be doing pretty well. This is a PlayStation published game by developer Arrowhead Game Studios. Go back here to Steam. See if I can pull up the. Go back to the Steam store here. Let's see. All right. So here we go. Top sellers right now, according to Steam, Helldivers 2, and then Power World at number 2. Of course, Counter-Strike's up there as well. Call of Duty behind Counter-Strike 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is up there too. Red Dead Redemption is actually retailing on Steam for $20. And they just hit like the 60 million units sold mark with Red Dead Redemption 2. That's a lot of copies of Red Dead Redemption 2 sold. I need to go back and play that because when I did pick it up for PC, but I had my 2070 at the time. I need to go back and play that game on my 3070. All right. All right. Sorry about that. I was just looking at the Steam charts here. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about, there's actually been conversation around should Xbox fans be upset, and I've seen certain pundits, content creators, who have said, Xbox fans, just relax, just wait. This is all rumor. And that's fair. Like, I understand that perspective. What I don't like, though, is the notion that they can't be upset, that Xbox fans have no reason to be upset. I don't like that. Now, I don't agree with people having extreme reactions to this rumor that's going around. But I disagree with people saying things like, oh, just wait till next week. There's nothing to see here. Just wait. Well, clearly there's something to see here because they're having a business meeting of sorts. Like, that alone should tell you that something's changing. It also skates by the fact when you tell people that they should wait to hear and they shouldn't be upset. You got to remember something. This is Xbox we're talking about. This is Xbox. I'm going to read one content creator in particular. Says, we have zero facts on what exactly Xbox will announce next week. And why I've said repeatedly, wait until they officially tell us what is happening, and then you are free to react accordingly on how it affects you as a consumer. I think that you can react now. I'm not saying that it's okay for people to send death threats or to dox first-party developers or Xbox studios. I think it's a little, in my opinion, I think it's a little premature to sell your console. But if you don't have confidence in the brand, and the problem I have with this comment too is that it skates by the fact that Microsoft has had issues, that this conversation around putting their games on other platforms isn't something that came out this week. It's something that's been discussed for quite some time. And you think about what happened when they announced their first-party games going day and date on PC, how that shook the Xbox consumer base a bit. And then you hear things like CFO Tim Stewart discussing a pivot in strategy where they're going to put more games on other console competitors. Like, you have the CFO of Xbox division, Tim Stewart, saying this. And so that creates a sense of doubt if you're a consumer. And that's why I don't like this particular tweet that this person made. I'm not going to call his name. I'm not going to give him the attention because I just don't agree with him. I just think he makes these takes and I just don't think he really thinks these things out, that this is more nuanced than, hey, just wait. I understand I understand like waiting for confirmation on rumors. I understand, like, okay, let me just say, I understand the idea of not coming to some kind of conclusion based on rumors about what Xbox is going to do. Okay, I get that, but what I disagree with is this idea that a consumer can't feel a certain way after hearing this news. They can absolutely feel a certain way if they spend hundreds, thousands of dollars in the ecosystem, and they feel like, well, wait a minute, like there's something like the consumer confidence of a brand that's already been struggling, a brand that's gone through different pivots of sorts with how they market their console, how they treat, like how they discuss the console. Like, hey, you don't need hardware to play our games. You don't need. I was listening to the Iron Lords last week. They said they went to the Forza event, and right there was like no console required or something. That is one of the advertisement things that they saw there with for Forza. So if you're a consumer and you hear and you see the advertisement that says you don't need a console, no console required, and then you start hearing rumblings of they may be bringing more games to other platforms, competitors. Hi-Fi Rush was a thing. Then you hear the C-suite, the CFO at Xbox, saying, "Hey, we are going to pivot in our strategy. We want to bring more games, more of our first-party games to other competitors." That's why I don't think it's fair to be like, let's just wait, because this is a thing. This is a thing that's happening. These are things that we've heard from the company itself. I think it's a little disingenuous to say people, hey, pump the brakes. You can't have a reaction. Don't react a certain way, or don't react at all, I should say. Let me take that back. I think it's unfair to say, disingenuous to say that you should wait before having a reaction. You should wait for you to freely react accordingly. You can react right now, as long as it isn't a reaction that's extreme. That's like the toxic stuff. But if somebody wants to sell their console, if someone feels like, hey, you know what, I've had enough. I could see someone articulating an argument with Xbox where they would say, I don't want to be part of the Xbox ecosystem anymore. They're gonna, I bought the games for exclusives. Now those games aren't going to be exclusives, and that's a thing, by the way. There's consumers that actually buy things because they want a thing that other consumers don't have. It's actually one way that companies create brand loyalty. So I think that if someone says, hey, based on things that have already happened, based on what the CFO is saying of Xbox, based on their own marketing where no consoles required, based on those things, I don't know if I want to be in the ecosystem anymore. I mean, that in some ways that happened to me when they started talking about putting games day and date on PC. I was like, well, why do I have a Series X? And then when they marketed the Series X as the console that eats monsters for breakfast, and then they didn't develop software to show off the hardware, I made a decision. I said, and they didn't officially announce anything in that regard in terms of how they were going to support the Series X. Well, I made a decision. Said I don't need the console. I'm going to go to PC. So I don't have an issue with people feeling upset or concerned based on their monetary investment. Again, so long as they're doing it as an adult and they're being reasonable. Again, I don't agree with any toxicity, people cussing out Xbox leadership or, setting their Xbox on fire. Zero Steel says Microsoft themselves devalue the Xbox. I don't disagree with that. And there's some people out there that feel like they're further devaluing their investment. And I understand that perspective. I understand that. I'm not going to tell like Crap Gamer who was on Crossfire on Monday, you shouldn't feel that way, Crap, because he's invested thousands of dollars into the ecosystem. I could certainly understand his perspective. But again, there's an appropriate response to this. Like I said, I don't agree with the toxicity. I don't agree with people feeling betrayed because they have a parasocial relationship with a corporation. But I understand people feeling disappointed or concerned about what might happen next. And I don't have an issue if people feel like, hey, you know what? Based on everything that's happened, because let's face it, we know that Xbox has had issues. We know that they've struggled in the marketplace. This isn't new. Like if you look at how the consoles performed over the last 20 something odd years, outside the Xbox 360, which to an extent they did benefit a little. I mean, the Red Ring. That was terrible, but that also led to people buying newer consoles again. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 consoles again, and that counts towards the install base. So, they have had difficulty. I would say outside the Xbox 360 generation, where they really, I thought, knocked out of the park with bringing games, games like Mass Effect as an exclusive, Mass Effect 1 at least as an exclusive. Working with Sakaguchi-san, who of Mistwalker, bringing exclusives there. But the brand has struggled. I mean, that's not news. Just look at the sales numbers. And please, I don't want anyone to tell me, oh, well, that's the old metric. No, it's not the old metric, because because what they're doing right now, at least in my opinion, like I don't think you're having a business event. I don't think you're having a business event to discuss a potential pivot in your business if things are going well, if Game Pass is working well, if the current model you have in place is working well. Something's changing. And I could certainly understand a week going by, and as a consumer, you're not hearing from Microsoft or the Xbox leadership. The only thing you've heard is, "Hey, we hear you. We're having this business event next week," and that's it. And this isn't like a Microsoft. This isn't a developer direct. This is a quote unquote business event. And I could see if you're and I understand people are like, oh, it's just rumors. And I don't disagree. Obviously, these are rumors. Nothing has officially been corroborated just yet by Microsoft or Xbox leadership. But it also begs the question, because we've seen them do it in the past, why haven't they just come out and dispelled these rumors and say, no, that Starfield's not happening, or no, these other games aren't happening? They haven't done that. When there was articles about Game Pass coming to other platforms, Phil commented on that. No, we have no intention of bringing Game Pass to Switch or PlayStation. So they've actually have commented on rumors before and said, no, we're not doing that. But they haven't done that this time. Cabona 5150 says Nate the Hate walked it back though. That is odd. I mean, and I've heard so many things regarding this so many different things regarding this particular topic. Like I've heard that this was leaked, that there's like some kind of internal strife between groups there. One group wants to go full third party. Other group's like, no, we can't do that. And the group that's like, no, we can't do that, apparently may have leaked some of this stuff out. That they were planning to put maybe like a game like Starfield out on PlayStation to cause the community to speak up and to get people upset and to voice their opinion. So it is something. Look, something's clearly going down. I think we all would agree with that. And I'm just basing that on past behavior when they've addressed rumors. They haven't done that. It's been a week. The only thing they've said is there's a business. We're going to have a discussion over the business. A business event, and I think there's going to be a pivot. I'd say there's obviously going to be a pivot, but I also don't think. I think there's probably going to be things that that the Xbox consumer fan base may be okay with, but I think that there could be some things potentially that they're not okay with, the Xbox consumer base. And at the end of the day, if next week you're not comfortable with the direction Xbox is heading, well, then you just make your choices. You have a choice to make as a consumer, whether or not you want to continue supporting the ecosystem, which is fine if you do not, or if you feel like, hey, there's enough here for me to stay, that's fair too. That's fine. But I will say this though, like this going on a week though, and I've never seen the Xbox community like this. I've been on Twitter gaming for 11 years. I'm sorry, 11 years. I've never seen it like this before. I've never seen it like this. And I don't know what the greater impact is of this particular story or these rumors might have outside of Twitter. Now, Twitter's a small sample size. But at least within the community, or the gaming community, I should say, and I've read some other boards, there seems to be a little bit of this has kind of hurt some consumer confidence in the Xbox brand by some of its most loyal supporters. So it's going to be interesting how they address this and how they repair the brand. But I will say this. If they come out and they announce, hey, we're going to put and I don't think Game Pass is going anywhere. I mean, I've heard things that they're not going to do day date and Game Pass. That to me would be odd because they've doubled down on that. But what I could see them doing is maybe charging for first party games day and date, like in a higher subscription tier. I could see that. I just don't see them getting away from day and date on Game Pass because it's such a huge differentiator for them compared to what PlayStation's offering. But I could be wrong. I mean, Microsoft the bean counters could have got to a point they're like, hey, this isn't working out. I mean, we've talked about it on this show. We've always questioned the Game Pass as a business model and whether or not it was a sustainable business model when you introduce AAA games day and date into the service. We've had Strauss Zelnick talk about this. Strauss Zelnick said, look, it doesn't make business sense to put AAA games day and date in a subscription service. Bobby Kotick on when he testified this past summer said the same thing. The model doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. And what we haven't heard for Microsoft in about 2 years is the number of Game Pass subscribers. And there's a video by Moore's Law where he discusses the chart during the testimony where Phil Spencer says that they have a goal. I think it was to hit about 90 million to about 100 million Game Pass subscribers by 2027. And he says, look, Phil Spencer says, if we don't hit this, and I'm paraphrasing what he said here, not his exact quotes, but he said something to the effect that if we don't hit this number, the Xbox business is going to look drastically different. Like, there's going to be a conversation. There's going to be a conversation to be had if we don't hit that number. But they haven't even, and when Moore's Law did the math and he shows the graph that he put together, they're actually, per that graph that Moore's Law had, he's saying they're not going to hit that projection. So it's going to be interesting to see if Game Pass is addressed, because I really don't think it's. I know Microsoft has said that it's profitable for them. Phil's like, oh, it's profitable for us, but we know that we've had Falke on here, David Faulkner. He has said that they bury some of the costs of doing business associated with Game Pass into other areas of the Microsoft business, so they'll build like the Azure business for that. They won't absorb those costs in the Xbox division. But I'm not saying, and then we have data from NPD Circana that says that subscription services have stalled. And I'm wondering if Xbox overestimated, how the demand for a subscription service like Game Pass with their games, their first party titles, day and date. I mean, I think on paper it sounds like it's a tremendous value proposition. I think on paper it makes sense. But then when you start hearing guys like Strauss Zelnick, Bobby Kotick saying, hey, actually, the math, the economics don't make sense when you put AAA games in their day and date. We've heard Sean Layden say the same thing. And this is, I'll say this one thing too. I know we talk about sustainability, and Game Logic and I were talking about this the other day. He brought up a great point. He was saying that, that it could be sustainable for Microsoft because of they can engage in those loss leader strategies because they have the money to do so. But I'm starting to wonder if they've hit a point after spending, $70 billion on ABK, or what I always forget, it was 70 or 80 billion. But and then the $9 billion acquisition of Bethesda, and then all the other first party studios that they've picked up. I mean, that kind of money in cash that's a lot of money. And there's got to be an ROI. And I've heard that the expectation is immediate ROI. I was listening to Sacred Symbols. Colin Moriarty had mentioned that it would take about 35 years for Microsoft to get that money back, to make that money back that they spent on the ABK acquisition. 35 years. So, look, regardless of whether Starfield is coming to PlayStation or not, in my opinion, something's changed here that has prompted them to announce a business event next week. We don't typically see business events announced unless there's some kind of new product launch, but we typically don't see that when a company's doing well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. I mean, again, I've heard so many different rumors. I do think that some games will be coming to other platforms. It's going to be interesting to see if those games are. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not those games are AAA games, smaller AA titles, or both. But I think it's if you start dipping your toes in the AA space and you start releasing single player games on PlayStation and Nintendo, I just keep going back to the money aspect. Like, these companies are in the business to make money. You already know what happens when you release big AAA games. Microsoft knows what happens when you release popular games, AAA games on other platforms. They know this from they know this from their history with owning Mojang and Minecraft. They've seen this with their with ABK, and you look at their the quarter, these last quarter. They saw the injection of revenue from ABK. They see what Candy Crush does. They see what Call of Duty does, multiplat. And I'm like, if this is, if you're doing this, let's just say these leaks are true. Like, if or let's just say that this was leaked on purpose, right? Because they were looking at bringing AAA games like a Starfield, right? Day and date on, not day and date, but to PlayStation 5. But if your concern is, well, we don't want to piss the fans off, so we're going to backtrack a little bit. We're just going to do like the smaller titles. But I think, like, once you start dipping your toes in that pool, though, and you think about the investment you've made, that ROI you need, they want to make money back. You look at your hardware sales are declining. We don't know what Game Pass is doing. They haven't reported any numbers, but I think them not reporting any Game Pass numbers is because of I think it's because of what Circana NPD said, that subscription service growth has stalled out. They may have plateaued now. So if you're plateauing on your subscription service that you were thinking maybe that thing that would generate additional revenue for you, and then you're having trouble selling hardware, what do you do? What do you do as a business? I imagine you pivot. Capono says BRAP ain't worried about 1,200 people on Twitter, and that's a great point, Capono, because I'm thinking like are they really are they going to potentially sacrifice millions of dollars in revenue for like 1,200 people on Twitter, Capono? That's a great question. If I'm Microsoft, I don't care what the people on Twitter say. I don't care that they're upset. I'm looking at my revenue projections, and I'm like, the hell with those people. Me bringing Starfield's going to net me additional, additional $50 million in revenue. I'm just making that number up. I'm not. That's a great point, Capono. But if all these other things within the business unit are not performing well and hitting certain revenue goals, you have to pivot. You've got to do something to generate additional revenue. The Slow-Mo says that thinking is why their brand ain't worth a red nickel. Are you saying, Slow-Mo, because they're too worried about what people on Twitter, the diehards and the Xbox community think? Because the component, that is a great point. Do they really care about the 1,200 people? Probably not. I don't think the Xbox hardware is going to go anywhere. Now, I don't think they're going to do. Oh, someone's saying no. I'm saying it because they change directions every 2 years. Yeah. And that's kind of what I said when that's the point that I was making earlier, Slow-Mo, when I said there's a reason why people are concerned in voicing their opinion about this. And we have certain content creators. Oh, just wait. Well, no, there's reasons why people are concerned. because of the thing you just mentioned, Slow-Mo. What I don't see happening, and we know the Xbox hardware is not going anywhere for right now. They're going to release another console, I think in 2026 is what's going around out there for release date for new hardware. I've heard so many different rumors about hardware. I heard the handheld thing isn't a thing. Then I heard it is a thing. So who knows? Slow-Mo says, do this pivot after your games come out. You know for a fact you can't grow the brand the way Nintendo and Sony has. Then at that point, put the games everywhere. If you put some, people will think Al. Oh, people will think all. See, I think because they're going to continue to sell hardware, I just can't imagine them doing day and date on PlayStation and Nintendo. That would be shocking to me. Unless Microsoft somehow says, hey, look, you know what? If you want the best of our first party, play it on our boxes. It's the best way to enjoy those games. The best optimized versions of those games are going to be on Xbox. And then we have this thing called Game Pass. And if you want to pay even to a higher tier, you can get those day and date on Game Pass. I just think there's got to be some kind of differentiator. Slow-Mo says if they put Hi-Fi Rush out there, it's no different than how PC gamers felt when they saw Horizon Zero Dawn was coming to PC. They were saying whole slate for 2 years before Herman said it. And that's true. Look, I'll say this.
Did I miss something?
What's up, Forte?
Is something else going on? This emergency podcast we got going on here?
Oh no, it's not an emergency podcast. I was just I was doing a podcast because I heard some like content creators saying like people shouldn't worry about what's going on with Xbox, and I don't agree with that, Forte. But what actually did happen, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the BRAP DM, sir, is the Nate the Hate who leaked the whole Starfield thing is saying, oh well, I've been told this isn't true now. But I've also heard that it's still on the table. There's so many different things coming out right now. So
I don't care until Microsoft tells me.
Are you selling your Xbox?
No, why?
I'm just asking a question, Forte. I'm just wondering. Sell your Xbox or not? You should. You got a PC.
And
Forte, you're half one foot's in the champagne room, the other foot's out.
No, both my feet are firmly planted where they should be because not all games that are on Xbox are on PC when it comes to Game Pass.
This is true. Slow-Mo says, stop eating on the podcast, Forte.
Nobody's eating anything. What the hell are you talking about?
Ooh, Forte, you came in here spicy, man. What's going on, man?
I don't know. Slow-Mo being messy right now, saying somebody's eating something. Ain't eating nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I was discussing. Just this idea that people shouldn't be voicing concern or be upset. Like I don't disagree with people because of the history here with Microsoft and the pivoting of strategies and games coming day and date on PC, and then will this game come to PlayStation? Will this game not? Like I can understand why people would be concerned. So
yeah, I mean. I don't know, man. I'm at a certain point now where Microsoft then already came out and said the house, didn't put the fire out.
They didn't put the fire out. It's fair.
The house is still on fire. Sit right there, wait for the fire to go out. But guess what? We'll put water on you, but you got to sit there in that hot room until next week.
We'll put water on you. We're not going to treat your burns.
No, we're not. I mean, they might do it after the fact. You never know. But your insurance might not cover it. Who knows?
Oh,
but
man.
Who knows, man? Like I'm over it right now. It's like I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation, I have a Switch, I have a PC. I'm very lucky to be able to afford and own all these platforms. I also one of the people that definitely know why I bought these consoles. Like my my outrage was really never about the exclusive stuff for me personally, because I do understand personally that, you know, exclusives do matter, but I never bought my console. I never bought my Xbox Series X for exclusives. I bought it because at the time, all my friends that I played with predominantly were on console and they played on Xbox, and the game that we played had a better version of it being played if you played it on that system. So it was never really Xbox that kind of did that for me. So it's everybody bought their systems for a reason. Now I can never be mad at people for being upset. I can like side-eye people for like not knowing that this was coming, that this is something that's been kind of talked about, not in this way, but it's kind of been something that's been inked on ever since 2015 when they decided to put their games on PC. And you know, it's kind of just been this building thing that's been rolling down a hill like a snowball for quite some time now. But the people that bought their systems for exclusivity, those people, I get it. They should be upset because Xbox sold them something with pretty much the promise that those games were going to be, you know, exclusive to the platform. You know, Sarah Bond came out on stage and said, you know, that game Starfield, yeah, it's exclusive to Xbox. You know, yeah, Phil Spencer said where Game Pass exists. You know, people keep trying to twist those words by saying, well, they meant where Game Pass exists, but, you know, stuff like that. And even I said, you know, the plan changes. But even if the plan changes, it still sucks when you kind of convince people to buy one platform over the other, and then not even 6 months later you pivot. And that's the thing that I have the problem with. Like, I can live with a company telling me that this is the direction I want to go in if you actually are going in that direction. If you come out and say like, hey, games are these games they have the possibility of going to other platforms. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you come out and say Starfield is exclusive to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox for 1 full year and PC, and then it will go to competing platforms a year later, or when the new DLC, those games will go other places, I think some people will still be upset, but I think the majority of people will be like, oh, that's fine. I got a year worth of Starfield, you know, by being on my platform. But the fact that Xbox is doing it like this, or it seems like they're doing it like this, because it's all rumor until it comes out and they talk about it, they're leaving it to gamers and whatever theory they can come up in their head on. You know, it's like you're not setting the record straight. And I think at this point, for me, I just want the record straight. But I also know when they talk about this next week at this business meeting or whatever they're calling it, we're still not going to know everything, because I don't believe in Microsoft to tell me everything that's going to happen. They're not going to tell me what all games are going to be, quote unquote, exclusive to Xbox if they do decide to keep some. They're not going to tell me all the games that are going. They're just going to be very vague, very cloak and dagger. They're probably going to announce some stuff to try to quell and try to, you know, do the sleight of hand with the community and get them excited for something else and leave the major thing pretty much unsatisfied. So I really don't know what to expect next week from now. All I expect is the honest truth. Like, what are we doing? Are you thinking about going third party? Are you thinking about that being the new future of what Xbox is? You know, if that's the case, just tell me. It's not going to stop me from supporting you. But what will get people to stop supporting you is if they don't know and they have to guess about everything. Because people are literally asking friends, should they buy games on the Xbox? Should they stop supporting the ecosystem? Should I just go to PC now? And for a lot of people like Slow-Mo,
I can answer
like
that
you,
question. Yes.
Well, like for people like you and Slow-Mo,
now.
you should go to PC, because at least you know those games that you do buy are going to be in the ecosystem that you want them in. But I will never take away the fact that there are a lot of gamers out there that probably work in front of a screen like in front of a computer monitor, and their life, they don't want it to always be like that when it comes to their hobby. Their hobby, they want it to be completely separate, and they want to play on the TV. And you can do that on a PC too, but it's something simplistic about a console. And it's like they don't want to feel like they bet on the wrong horse. And that's kind of what this feels like for a lot of people. So it's really interesting to see what they do next week, BRAP. And I just don't know how to call it. I just want them to be honest with us at this point, because I'm tired of I'm just tired of all that back and forth, because especially being a person that sells these consoles, I want to be able to tell a person why you're buying something. You know, I told people, they say, hey, should I just get an Xbox if I want to play Starfield? I was like, well, unless you're going to buy a PC that's going to cost you anywhere from $700 to $800 or $900 or $10,000, then yeah, just buy a console. I said, do you really care about graphics and everything like that? They say, no, I just really want to experience the game. I said, well, then buy an Xbox Series S and buy it digital. That's $300. That gets you in the ecosystem. And a lot of people did that. But I feel crappy that happened, because I told those people that, dude, you can play this game only on Xbox. That's the only way you're going to do it unless you buy a PC. And that wasn't the case. So, and that's super disrespectful to people.
Yeah, I hear you, man. The other thing I was mentioning for when you jumped on is that, you know, if they kind of dipped their toes in the pool, and I talked about like how we don't know how Game Pass is doing. I don't think it's doing well. I mean, we haven't heard any numbers in 2 years. We know that subscription services have plateaued. Sony's not even reporting their PlayStation subscription numbers anymore either. You know, we know that hardware is in decline. Yes, I mean they're still generating revenue. But you know, I was talking to Logic this afternoon. We're discussing revenue, and he was doing the math. He's like, you know, basically they spent all this money to get back to where they were like 10 years ago in terms of revenue. And so with these declining, with Game Pass not probably, I don't think it's working for them, in my opinion, just based on, I think about what Moore's Law said and the Xbox leaks, Phil Spencer testifying about having to hit 100 million by 2027, or else, you know, the business is going to change. We haven't heard subscription growth in 2 years. We don't know where it's at. It's we know it's not. We know that particular segment in the gaming industry is plateaued or stagnant in terms of growth. Hardware sales are down. Like, you got to do something as a business to start generating revenue. And if the idea is to put your first party on other platforms because you know it's going to make you more money, and then they say, okay, well, to placate the fans, and it's like Capone said, like, you're probably just placating the fans on Twitter. Does it make sense to placate it? You know, maybe 1,000 fans, 2,000 fans. I don't know how many fans are on Twitter that support Xbox. Let's say a couple million. Does it make sense to placate those individuals and sacrifice, you know, a couple million in revenue? And then it's like, if you dip your toe and you start putting smaller titles in there, maybe those smaller titles don't work out. Then you start looking, well, this isn't working out. Maybe we need to put a bigger title there and see how that works. But then it's like, if it does work out, then I'm thinking, like, if the smaller titles are working, then you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute. These bigger titles, they sell well on our platform. We know they're going to sell well elsewhere. I just think what I don't want to happen is, I don't want this to be a Band-Aid thing. Just rip the Band-Aid off, because what would be unfortunate, I think, to the brand is if they come back a year from now, we're having this conversation again.
Well,
sorry for that rant there, Forte, but
no, I mean, I just ran it for 10 minutes and you let me, so you're fine. But I mean, yeah, you're right. I agree with that. But I also think the other thing, it sound like a broken record, or feel like a broken record at this point. You know, the other thing that just is irritating about it is, and I think you can't discount this from Xbox fans, because I think you really are starting to see the true feelings of what Xbox fans, because, you know, let's be for real, Xbox fans have been neglected when it comes to games and stuff for quite some time. They kind of skirted on the edge still, you know, rah, you know, the brand is awesome, this and that, because, you know, they found other reasons to love Xbox outside of just the first party games. I mean, I even did that myself. I still supported Xbox But the reason I was playing on Xbox, it had nothing to do with Xbox. It just happened to be where everybody was that I played, and the particular game that I played just happened to be the game that I stayed on to do it. So I think everybody found a reason to still love being in the Xbox ecosystem. But I think now you're starting to see the real feelings of those people, because they stuck by them during all of this. We still purchased your console. We still went into Game Pass and signed up for 3 years of Game Pass and all this other crazy stuff that they did to basically show Xbox that we believed in them. You know, we celebrated them when they went out and bought all these studios in 2018. We celebrated them when they started putting games on PC, saying, "Yo, Xbox and PC, that's a great combination. You know, you can do this and you can do that." We celebrated all that. You know, we celebrated Starfield selling 10 million copies on PC, and not knowing what console had did. You know that. So we backed Xbox all the way when it came to that. A lot of people did, and now Xbox isn't backing gamers, because this is the first year where a lot of those games that everybody was looking forward to and really realizing the game per quarter, or at least 3 games this year, which would have been 75% to the plan. This was the year that could have happened. This is the year where you could have been like, "Yo, you've been holding out on us for years on this, and then you want to make it. You're possibly going to make a decision like this. This is a year that you're going to have Call of Duty marketing rights for the entire year, and you're going to be able to placate to your fan base that Xbox is the best place to play Call of Duty. That can be your market.
Why would it be the best place to play Call of Duty though? Like, it feels like
because they say, listen, because they say so. Because they'll be. I mean, listen, you can do anything you want when you're the console, when you own it.
So they just, yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. They could just,
you can say anything because people just want to feel courted, dog. Listen, BRAP, you know how it is, dog. Everybody want to feel courted. It don't matter that girl can be lying to your face, but she make you feel good by saying that you look nice.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how that's just the dynamic of the world. But I just feel like Xbox just literally took that and said, "No, y'all not good enough." I remember when I made a Twitter post last year when the whole slate pretty much got leaked, that they were coming, that all the games were coming to, or whatever year it was, that all the games were coming to PC. I did a Twitter video on camera and told gamers to their face, like, "Yo, listen, this is PlayStation telling you that you're not enough." I said, this is them saying you are literally not enough for them. It's not to say that they don't love and admire that you spent all your money and came to us and you had great times over here, but we're not selling like we should be selling. You know, we need more. If you want these games to be able to sustain, we need more. We need more revenue. That's why we're putting our games on PC. And I told gamers, I said, listen, it ain't against you. It's just that the PlayStation gamer ain't enough. And guess what's happening right now? The Xbox gamer truly ain't enough, because not only are they putting their games on PC, but now they're putting them on other platforms. And it's just a very interesting dynamic to kind of see, but it's just weird and very unfortunate that Xbox had the opportunity to let this year play itself out and let this kind of happen naturally on its own, but they won't even give that a chance because they're impatient. And that's the unfortunate part of it. They're just impatient.
Not impatient. They've been, the patience has run out.
No, but whose fault is that? No, B. But B, whose fault is that? B, whose fault is that?
Hold on, real quick, gentlemen. I got to give B his proper introduction. We have with us B Buddy. What's up, B?
What's going on, fellas?
It's great to see you, man. How are you, man?
He'll be back. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
look,
go ahead,
man. No, it's cool. It's just very unfortunate that, like I said, that's the way that it kind of went down. They had the opportunity to see what all of that looked like for them, and now we're in a situation where it's something completely different, and no one really knows what it's going to be, honestly. BRAP. Hey, Chad, are they there? Oh Lord, they got him. They got us. All right. So they must have got BRAP. BRAP is gone, y'all. BRAP is gone. We all here. They completely power must have went out. Oh, BRAP just came back. BRAP, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Yeah. What you do? Your whole thing shut down.
Yeah, my I don't know what happened. Like Discord locked up or something. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
I think the stream may have
Hero Down Under said I put y'all to. He said they said I put y'all to sleep.
Yeah, I think B Money is I don't know what happened to B. Hope he comes back because I really wanted to hear what he had to say. But yeah, Forte, it's just interesting. It is it's just like they have this great developer direct, and then there's this, and I think it's kind of like, and I to me this is like, it feels like the Commanders under Dan Snyder. They take a step forward and they take 2 steps back. This is what that kind of feels like.
Yeah. Mario, he says, talk about that GameStop advertisement, Forte. Is Microsoft calling Microsoft Game Pass, or did you guys just make that marketing mistake? Listen, man, I have no idea what that was about, because it was something my store was not picked to be a part of that promotion. So I really couldn't tell you. The fact that they came out and changed it could be a bunch of different things, but GameStop is kind of taking fault for it by retweeting and saying it was kind of a mistake. So I guess you just got to kind of take it that way. But who really knows how that actually broke itself down? But I have no idea.
Yeah, but by the way, Forte,
how that broke down.
Real quick, Forte, Discord is acting up because it's not even showing us in the stream.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah,
you're not even showing up there now.
It just disappeared.
Yeah, did you toggle it on and off again?
I did not.
Like hit the button and toggle it and go back in and out.
You mean like me hang up and come back in the BRAP show?
No. Like how you can, like, you're using Discord. You're using OBS, right?
Yeah, OBS. I'm using Streamlabs.
Oh yeah. You know how you got the little eye next to the little Discord thing? You could click that. You know how you can click something to make it disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would try doing that and see if it comes back. That sometimes resets it. Sometimes you might have to go in and reload the asset. Yep, there you go. It came back.
Yep, I just did. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
we're all the way back. We're all the way back.
I gotta. Oh God, I hope B Money can come back. All right, let me.
Yeah, well, you know what? Bitrate. That's the funny thing. I got a lot of people that called me about
Forte,
that.
I'll be right. Forte, give me a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Right.
Yeah, I had a lot of people that called me and asked me about that, and I was like, I have no idea, bro. And I saw the picture, and I was like, if I had to speculate, part of me felt like a lot of other people, and this is just me talking as a gamer to you guys. When I seen that, I was like, yo, this is all very convenient. It's like Xbox marketing, it says Microsoft Game Pass on it, and this was literally the day after all of the stuff happened, and you heard leaks of Xbox rebranding Game Pass to Microsoft Game Pass, and then you see that on the advertisement, and then normally and this isn't just with this isn't one company that does it. Pretty much all companies do this. It's always something that's set up weeks and weeks advance. A lot of stores already knew that they were doing some type of event. They probably didn't know what the event was because they kind of keep that stuff kind of to themselves. But normally they'll let you know, hey, you got an event that's coming up. We'll let you know more information when it gets closer. Blah blah blah. But those assets are usually made way early in advance, and definitely typos can happen. but I think a lot of people, when they just look at it, they's like, man, that looks real fishy that kind of happened right when it did. So I definitely believe, especially since they took fault for it, that it was definitely just a mistake in writing. And but we'll never really know, because ultimately it just comes back to they changed it. And if you change something, you're basically taking fault for it. So who really knows what happened? But it just seemed. I do agree with gamers. It just, the whole situation just felt real fishy, just because of how everything led up to that. But it probably was more. It was nothing more than that, honestly, from what we know. B Money's back.
Oh, B's back. Yep. B, can you hear us? Oh man, I don't think you can hear us.
Mario, yeah, we're still doing pre-orders on physical games. I mean, I don't think physical games are. Just because, I mean, even with that whole situation with them closing the division that's doing physical media for Xbox, even Jess Corton came out and said that they could outsource that. That is something that could be done. So, who knows what really can happen there? The thing I would do is, if you are a physical consumer, buy as much physical as possible, because you never know when that's going to
go away.
When it's going to go away. But we also know that a lot of retailers are getting rid of physical media. Best Buy, Walmart, Target. They already said they're going to stop carrying select things when it comes to physical merchandise, when it comes to games and movies and stuff. So if you're a physical person, this kind of just echoes that you should get what you can get before you can't get it anymore.
Yeah, I think B's having some technical issues. He just dropped out of the Discord.
B, the one that came in here and crashed the party. That's what happened.
Yeah. Hey, Forte, the other thing I want to ask you is, so we talked about the GameStop thing, the marketing, but today we learned that on Microsoft, the Xbox page for Hellblade 2, there's no mention of Xbox consoles, just consoles, PC, and cloud.
Yeah, we went into the Wayback Machine, me and Slow-Mo. We noticed it last night right after DPS.
Okay.
And we went into the Wayback Machine looking at old versions of the website that showed it. And we had to go back to like early 2023 for the difference in Hellblade. It looks like they updated it when they did the new trailer and stuff. And they changed like they had just the one centerpiece of just Senua on there with the war paint on, and then you had the one with her hands on her face. Those were kind of different. No problem, Murray Heat, but yeah, when they changed that, yeah, they went. The funny thing is, they went like, you can still see Game Pass marketing, but they just like removed the logos. Like then it went from, and then on the Forza one, it showed Xbox Series S and X compatibility. But then on the newer ones, it doesn't show that anymore. It's like it just says Game Pass. It doesn't say the Xbox logo next to it. It doesn't say anything. So I don't know, man. Listen, man, Xbox being real something out here. I don't know what's really going on with everything. They got too many moving things going on. They got people looking at them real funny right now when it comes to everything that they're doing right now.
Hey, B, can you hear us?
Yeah, man. Discord, they trying to get me out of
here. They got you, bro?
Yeah.
They're trying. What's going on, man?
Oh, guess what, B? Guess what? Guess what came today?
No, wait. Let B talk. We don't want to lose
I'm gonna let. Oh yeah, go ahead, B. I don't want you to. Yeah, B, go ahead. Go ahead, B first. B.
Oh no, I was just jumping back in the conversation. What were y'all talking about, man?
We're talking about like Xbox, the whole stuff with the business meeting, all that. the latest, the newest change to the rumor of Starfield. Maybe now it's not coming to other platforms, but go ahead, B.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So the rhetoric going back and forth on Twitter, like, you can only take it with a grain of salt. Nobody knows until everything is confirmed. Sometime next week, because they didn't even put a day on when they're gonna say anything. They just said, "Hey, we hear y'all. Come back next week. We'll give you some information." It could be Monday, it could be Friday, but just pay attention. We'll let you know.
Logic said, watch them do it Thursday or Friday.
They're gonna make you wait a whole
drag
week.
it out.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to kind of do it towards the weekend. So then they just put it out, and then they can let everything happen over the weekend. Let all the nonsense happen, and then it's blown. They can normal. It's they did it to themselves, man. I've been saying this for a long time. I started saying this on Tick Podcast when we were doing that. Towards the end of that, once they started putting our games on PC, the writing was on the wall. When you tell people that they can buy your game somewhere else and they no longer have to be in your ecosystem, guess what? That's what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they turned all these console players, these diehard console players who never owned a PC before. Guess what everybody started doing? Guess what everybody started caring about? Everybody started looking at all the NVIDIA videos and all the AMD conferences, and they want to learn about CPUs, and they want to learn about RAM, and everybody wants to get an SSD.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they told them that you don't need our box.
Mm-hmm.
The trickle down effect of not is that on our ecosystem. It means less money in our ecosystem. That's true. You could buy our games on Steam, but guess what? Steam gets the rest of your dollars, not Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to buy your next game on PC because you bought a PC, guess where you're gonna buy it at? On Steam, GOG, or any of the other launchers on PC. You're not buying your games on Xbox anymore. So all these people who are diehard Xbox guys and they start building PCs, guess what? You hurt the ecosystem by doing that.
Yeah.
You are no longer buying your Mortal Kombats on Xbox. You aren't buying the Baldur's Gate 3. You ain't buying the next BioWare game. You're buying it on PC. Guess what happens when you do that? You hurt the ecosystem. So they need more dollars. So then when you do that, guess what happens? Game Pass. That's what happens. Then what? Everybody jumps on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. Guess what happens? Nobody's buying games. All the rhetoric that kept telling you, oh, more people buy games because of Game Pass. Bullshit. You know why it's true? Because too many people are playing games on Game Pass. What do you see online all the time? Oh, I'm not buying that. I'll wait for it to hit Game Pass. I'm not buying that. I'll wait for it to hit Game Pass. It'll be the hottest game that everybody's talking about. That's what people gonna say. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, wait for Game Pass.
I'll wait for it to hit Game Pass. Indie games. $20 indie games. I'm not buying that. I'll wait for it to hit Game Pass. So guess what? That's fine. You're a consumer. At the end of the day, you that's what you choose to do with your dollar. Microsoft made it so that you could play all these games for $10 or $15 a month, and that's what you choose to do. Great.
Yeah.
Now don't complain, because guess what you did? You hurt the ecosystem. Less dollars are going into the ecosystem because you only give them $15 a month. You playing all these great games. What you thought was going to happen? Playing all these great games for $15 a month. You ain't spending no other dollars.
Mm-hmm.
What you thought was going to happen?
Hey, B, I want to go back to something I never. You said something I never thought of. Selling first party on your platform on your home storefront. The revenue cut is in your favor there. You're right. Versus you selling it on Steam, Epic, whatever else they may sell their PC games. You're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that because you got to pay Steam that cut.
Right.
You'll be money.
What's up?
Check
How do you
the
think
deal.
about that?
Look what just came today.
What you got? Oh man.
Oh, woo! Where did you get those?
The shock dropped the other day.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Oh, I missed that.
Those
nice.
mugs, dog.
Oh,
they are cleaner than I thought they would be once I seen them in hand.
Let me get those off your hands, Forte.
No, bro, they ain't going nowhere, bro. Those boys clean.
Forte, are you leaving the Nike tag on? That's what we used to do when I was younger.
No, I'll put it back on. What you say, B?
Like the first week. The first week, you got to keep the tag on.
Yeah, you got to keep the tag on for the first week, and then you take it off after that.
Brian,
and then when you put it back in the box, you put the tag back on.
Yeah.
Hey, B. So what you're describing is kind of what I've heard. Like when I was listening to Sacred Symbols today, and I was listening to Defining Duke yesterday. Some of it just sounds like self-inflicted, and I should say it is self-inflicted. Game Pass number stalled. We haven't reported those in 2 years. We know that subscription services have stalled in the industry. That was reported by Circana. And then you see hardware numbers be money. Like they're struggling. I mean, negative hardware sales growth in the last couple quarters.
They tell you all the time, you don't need to buy the box.
Yeah, exactly.
Go play our games on a Samsung TV. You can play it on a Samsung refrigerator, Samsung toaster. You can play it wherever you want to. But you don't need this box that we spent all this money on R&D all these years that we crafted for you. This custom box. You don't need that. You can go play our games wherever you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna
all that money we spent. No biggie. Go play our games wherever you want to, because the box it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Right. So Cycle Gamer saying no, you're not going to harm Xbox by buying their games on Steam or Game Pass if that is what they're pushing you to do. No, like it actually benefits Microsoft in their favor if you buy a game through Game Pass because they're taking 100% of that revenue cut. When you go to Steam, you're sharing revenue with Steam. That's what B's referring to. Now, instead of taking in all 100% of the dollars made on that sale, you go to Steam, you're splitting up that I don't know what the ratio is on Steam, but Steam's getting a cut of that sale versus getting 100% of the cut on your own home store. Yeah, so I think Brian East is saying 30%. So instead of getting 100%, you're getting 70%. That's cutting into your revenue stream. You hope to make that up in economies in what I say economies of scale or in volume, I should say. You hope to make that difference up in volume, and you hope to make that up in volume selling on your software, or selling software in your home store. And also, when you factor in Game Pass, you're hoping you're getting enough Game Pass subscriptions to offset that loss of revenue. That doesn't seem to be happening. I'm not saying they're not making any revenue. Clearly, their financials showed otherwise. But again, that was part of. But also, this last quarter, that was part of the infusion of the ABK revenue. Also, Microsoft does include like development tools, things like that in their revenue numbers for Xbox and get the gaming division. But go ahead, B.
But my point is, once you start buying games on Steam, if you were on Xbox, you built a PC. Yeah, Steam's getting a 30% cut, but guess what? You're more likely to buy the rest of your games PC. If you were playing on Xbox and you were buying the FIFAs, you were buying the Maddens, you were buying Baldur's Gate 3, you were buying the Mass Effect, you were buying all your games on Xbox.
Right.
And now you built a PC, guess what? All that extra revenue that they were getting from you buying your games on Xbox, they no longer get it. That's what I'm talking about. Not that just because Microsoft's putting their games on Steam and they're losing that 30% cut, they're losing the extra 30%. The reason why PlayStation is so successful by doing nothing is because they have all these games on their console and they didn't have to make them.
Right.
And people are buying them there.
That's true.
That 30% cut that they were taking from Call of Duty for doing nothing, that's what they were so afraid of losing. They don't have to pay any employee to build Call of Duty. It's the biggest selling game every year. Guess what? It's on their platform. They take a 30% cut. They didn't have to do nada.
He said nada.
Nada.
You know what's interesting, B? Sean Layden talked about their strategy with selling games on PC. He said that Sony doesn't do PC day and date because they don't want to trade one sale for another sale. So basically, it's like we release this software on our platform, this first party game. It sells what it sells. It hits a point where it's not going to sell anymore on the console. Then they just bring it over to PC and generate more revenue after the fact. So like you take a game like God of War Ragnarok, it's going to sell what, 18 million on the PlayStation 5, whatever, or PlayStation console. Then they're going to release it on. And they get 100% of that. Then they're going to release it on Steam, and they're going to get another 70%. So it's just the icing on the cake for them at that point.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if you look at those leaked documents from Insomniac,
I'm sorry.
They said
yeah
that they weren't going to port games to PC. If the game costs more than $5 million to port the game to PC, then it's not worth it. So that lets you know that them porting a game doesn't even cost them a lot. So that extra revenue that they're making, even if it's only a couple million sold on PC, they're still making out on it because it's not costing them that much to actually port the game to PC.
Yeah,
that's true.
Man, I didn't even think about that Steam cut beef. I didn't even think about that. And then I wonder too what the knock-on effect is if you're not. Like, is it unless you're on PC Game Pass, then you're not really, then even then you're not. Because think about this, like on console, right? They have all these other applications, entertainment apps, YouTube, Netflix, right? You start interacting with that. Doesn't Microsoft get a cut of that too?
PC Game Pass is even worse because you're paying $10 a month, and
you're paying less. That's right.
You're paying $10 a month. And you getting all the same first party games.
I got to be honest.
If I just want to play Microsoft first party games, and I just want to pay, this is exactly how I use Game Pass. I get it every holiday season. As up until this point, they're really releasing that many games. I think it's like $29 or something like that, $24 or whatever for like 3-month pass. They usually have it half off during the holiday season. I get it for a holiday season. I play all the games I want for 3 months. After that, I'm gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm making out. So even if a PC player has Game Pass all year, to give them $120 a year, and they release a full slate of games.
Mm-hmm.
Which in most cases would only be equivalent of 2 games that you would purchase. Now with games being $70, you're still making out on PC.
Mm-hmm. AB, let me ask you something. When they announced the Game Pass strategy, did you hear anything like what their expectations were? Like, do they think that this was going to be a business model that the mass market would just glom onto?
Yeah, they thought that there was going to be mass adoption to Game Pass. This was like the early years. So like the 2017, 2018 years. They thought that there would be mass adoption to having gamers be able to have this, large selection of games for this low price point. Which in theory, you would think would work. But you also have to think that most people only play 2 or 3 games at a time. If that. Some people only play 1 game. You got to think, like when they come out with all those numbers about the attach rate of these consoles, most of the attach rate numbers usually are like 3.5, maybe 4. That means within a year, the consumer bought 4 games for that console. In a year, most consumers only buying 4 games. So that lets you know that a lot of people ain't out there a lot of people aren't like us, where we buy all the big releases. You know what I mean? Every couple of weeks we're buying something, or every week we're buying something. The average consumer is only buying 4 games a year. And a lot of those games are the big sports games that people love to hate on. And then they might buy one of the Zeitgeist games. They might buy a Grand Theft Auto. They might buy a Red Dead Redemption. They might buy a Witcher or a Cyberpunk. And you could tell at the numbers because those are the games that have the highest sales numbers. When enough people are talking about it, that's the game that the average consumer will buy. That's why Call of Duty is still as high as it is. Because people talk about it every year. It's the biggest selling game. Every year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was only one of the few years that it lost. They lost to Harry Potter game that everybody thought they was gonna hate on, and guess what? Also,
Gangbusters.
Right. So, if there's no Zeitgeist game, most consumers are only buying the same games that they buy every year.
Well, that's what Strauss Zelnick from Take-Two said when he was talking about how the subscription models for day-and-date AAA didn't make sense, because he's like, look, on average, consumers are buying 2-3 games a year, and they're putting about 35 to 45 plus hours in each of those games. I mean, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong, B. To your point, I mean, I forget, was it, did he say 2 or 3 or 3 or 4? I don't remember now. If you guys remember that or not.
Strauss? I think he said 2 or 3.
Okay. I'd have to go back and pull that article, but he mentioned it when they asked him about, putting AAA games day and date. So no, it doesn't make sense. Like, and that's the thing. I also think, B, and I'm going to pick on the fan base here a little bit. I think they overestimated Game Pass. Oh, it's going to be like Netflix, but it's like interactive entertainment is much different than television and movies. It's not the same thing.
Right.
But
exactly right.
I don't know, B.
That's what I don't think people understand. This isn't music or movies where you can just put it on and you can passively have it on, and you're folding clothes or doing some work on a PC and you just have it on as background noise. You have to interact with video games, and if you work a 40-hour job, 40-hour week job like most people,
yeah,
you might only play video games a couple hours a night.
Yeah.
If you are somebody who wants to complete a game, most of these games are 20, 25 hours, if not longer. So if you're only playing a couple hours a night, that one game might take you 3 weeks to beat.
B-Money, I've hit about almost 400 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. You know how many games I missed because of that? Or didn't play?
Yeah.
I mean, there's people who literally only play Call of Duty.
Right.
Yeah,
or Madden. I mean, there's people who only play Madden or FIFA. That's literally the only game they play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've got a friend that only plays FIFA and NBA 2K. That's it. There's 2 purchases a year. And he's happy. Right. He's happy as can be.
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't get a new console until they stop supporting the old console. Then he's like, okay, I got to go out and buy a new console now if I want to play those games.
Yeah. I got a friend the same way. He plays MLB The Show and he plays FIFA. That's the only 2 games he plays. He could tell you everything about each of those games, but if you ask him about anything else, he couldn't tell you, because that's the only games he plays.
Yeah. B, it's funny, like you and I both have football organizations that often miss the mark, or fans of football teams that often miss the mark. I was saying this earlier, like the way like Xbox, for whatever reason, the messaging here and what I have viewed the last couple of years of kind of like they'll take like 2 steps forward and they'll take 3 steps back. And it kind of reminds me of the Dan Snyder era with the Washington Commanders when he was owner.
Yeah.
It's just I just don't understand like what is happening there. Like, to me, this doesn't scream like a winning culture.
But I say it all the time. Microsoft is good at buying stuff. They are not good at creating anything. What's the last thing Microsoft created where you're like, it's a good idea. I think it's going to work for them.
Windows?
Exactly. How long have we been using Windows?
Like forever.
Exactly. They're not a creative company. That's just what it boils down to.
Well, they did.
So
I mean, they did build out like their own cloud infrastructure with Azure. They did do that.
Right.
You know,
what does that do?
That was an extension of
what
Windows
does that do for the
NT.
average consumer?
But that was an extension of Windows NT, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Yeah. And they did make the Surface tablets.
Yeah, how's that going for them?
Well,
Didn't the guy from Surface just leave?
yeah, Panos Panay left. It's kind of I was kind of surprised by that. Like, yeah. I look. We don't know what's going to happen.
Them iPads still busting their ass.
Yeah. Well, you know, I look. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. A lot of this is speculation, but I keep going back to certain conversations from the C-suite there. If they don't do this now, I think at some point you're going to see all their stuff on Nintendo PlayStation. And I say that because you listen to what Tim Stewart said, the CFO of Xbox. You listen to what Satya said about exclusive. He's like, I don't care for them. You look at like Microsoft's DNA as a company, their core competencies, what they're good at. Software as a service.
I've said that since Satya took over as CEO.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
And people tried to laugh me out the room. Like, yo, I'm telling you where this company is going. One thing I do is I always look at CEOs of companies. Anybody who's going to be in power, I look at their past work. I look at what they do, what they're known for. That's why Strauss Zelnick is one of my favorites. Like, I know, like, that guy's background. I know what he's going to do. I know what he's bringing to the table. When Jim Ryan took over, a lot of people were like, yo, who is this dude? What is he? Everybody hated him. I knew from a business sense, he was going to put the brand in the best place. And he did exactly that. All you got to do is look at what that people in power, what they're known for and what they're good at and what they do. What are their philosophies? Satya took over, I knew exactly what the company was going to do. I knew exactly what they're going to do with Xbox. I knew eventually that all the software is going to be everywhere because Microsoft is a software-based company. They have never done anything great with hardware. People don't care about their hardware. I've said this time and time and time again. Look at anything they've ever done with hardware. It always flops. They try to break into the market. They've had some cool stuff. Guess what? People don't care. That's what it boils down to. They've tried to sell phones. They've tried to sell Surface tablets. They've tried to sell whatever you can name it. They tried to get into VR. They backed out of it. Remember when Phil Spencer said that VR was coming to the Xbox console? What happened to that?
Didn't happen.
VR nowhere in sight.
They also had the what's it called, the AR what was that called?
I can't even remember what the name is.
They had HoloLens on stage at E3.
HoloLens.
Remember that?
Yeah. No, nowhere in sight.
They did a whole demo. I think it was on Minecraft, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was. Nowhere in sight. People don't care about their hardware. It doesn't sell enough. It's cool. They bring a lot of cool stuff to the table. But at the end of the day, it never impacts the market. Never. So I knew what they were going to do with their software. Their software is going to go everywhere. People aren't going to like it at first. But this is the company. That's what they're known for. It will be okay. What do you guys think they're going to say next week when they finally?
I think they're going to say a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, I think they're going to be super vague. I think they're going to try to beat around the bush.
I think so too.
Nothing's going to be direct. Mm-hmm. Not going to say, X, Y, and Z, like these games are coming from these companies or whatever. Like,
my thing, they're not going to tell me what I want to hear. Just tell me the truth. They're not going to do that. They're not going to tell me the truth.
Rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, rip the Band-Aid off is what I say. And to your point, Forte, about,
I know one thing they better not do, though. This is one thing they better not do. This whole Game Pass day and date thing disappearing, they can't do that and do what they're about to do at the same time. That will, because then if you take day, like, because I know it's being rumored day and date could be taken away or whatever they're doing. It's like they can't do both. I mean, they can do whatever they want, but if they want to lose everybody, they can't do both. You can't take the games that you say were exclusive to the platform and then on top of that tell people that we're doing away with day and date. You can't do both. It's like, pick one. If you're going to go after the revenue on console by putting it on a more popular system, that's fine. But I think that's the only thing I think they can't do. And I don't think they'll do that, but other than that, like B just said, they're going to say pretty much a bunch of nothing, because you're not going to know what titles are going to be affected, outside of the ones they want you to know about. And they're just going to leave it super vague. Like, they're not going to tell you like, oh, the Bethesda games are going to be, multi-platform.
Yeah.
They're not going to come out and tell you that. They're going to lead, they're going to probably say case by case again. And I'll be like, okay, so what's different? What's different? You said case by case before, and that wasn't even the true thing, because you said that Bethesda games were exclusive when it came to Starfield. So that's why at this point it's like B said, they could talk about this on Monday, or it could be Thursday, Friday next week. And and like I said, I just keep going back to the meme of you sitting in a burning room with the house on fire, and Phil Spencer puts a tweet out saying, we hear you, but the house is going to be on fire for a while. We gotta let y'all sit in it, because we gonna come save you. We gonna try to save you, but you gotta wait till next week for it. You gotta wait for it. You gotta wait to be saved. But it's gonna be hot in here for a while.
Yeah,
it's like I just, it just shows no confidence, because it looks like they're trying their best to probably switch something that they didn't want to happen in the first place. If you're giving the Xbox side of this 100% faith that this wasn't their decision, but it's still the fact that Tim Stewart came out and said all these things, and people tried to ignore it and told him, Tim Stewart, get back there and count the beans. And B Money, you'll be the first one to say this. Of all people, the one you should be listening to the most is the bean counter, because the bean counter is the one that's telling all the bean counter is the one that got the ear of the execs. And the execs are the ones that are going to the shareholders telling them that this is the direction we're going to go in. And that's the reason the stock price goes up to $400 per share, because they know what the plan is. Microsoft don't care about our little community of gamers that, love playing exclusive games and stuff. Not when the head of Microsoft is telling people that he wants, in interviews, telling people that he wants games on other platforms. Now, I don't know what else to tell people.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they let things a little vague too. Yeah, go ahead, B.
Do you guys think that the only reason the rumors of the strategy changing from getting away from day and date is because a lot of their roadmap is single player games?
What, a lot of one and dones?
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, I was listening to a stream earlier today, and they were talking about how for Xbox, maybe not for Microsoft, but for Xbox, or maybe for Microsoft too, that they were really, really trying to get Call of Duty exclusivity, and they were forced by regulators and just to get the deal done, because we all said that would change, like Activision, the purchase of Activision and getting Call of Duty exclusive on their platform. That's a monumental game changer that I think Xbox felt like they could probably pull off. And once they couldn't pull that off and get that exclusivity of that game, I think that kind of changed the plan for everything. You know, this is what this person was saying, because it was like, well, maybe they looked at it like, if we can't get Call of Duty exclusive, because like you said, B, PlayStation, it's not just the games, it's a brand. Like, PlayStation is like the most popular brand out there. Like, you're not unseating them just because you have a couple of good games on there. You might get people to want to buy an Xbox, but they're not going to get rid of their PlayStation. I think that was like the most truest thing that Phil Spencer said. You're not going to get people to sell their PlayStation. You'll just probably get some people, probably a couple of other people, to buy your console, but they're not going to get rid of your PlayStation. We saw that back in 2009 when Xbox, you know, had a huge lead and PlayStation caught them. Because once the game started coming out and once the price of the PlayStation 3 went to a normal price, everybody started buying it. Because guess what? They didn't stop being a fan. They just weren't paying the astronomical price that PlayStation wanted them to pay. And then the game started coming. So it's a good chance that maybe that is part of it, that they looked at this scenario, was like, we really, really, really wanted Call of Duty to be exclusive, because that would be like the get out of jail free card for them. Because maybe not this generation, but next generation, that could be a console reset for them. Because you're going to take all those people, if you can't play Call of Duty on PlayStation, like if you're a Call of Duty head and that's all you play, then you already know where you got to go outside of PC. But since they couldn't pull that off, it's a situation where, well, why are we going to keep the Bethesda games exclusive? Or why are we going to keep any of these other games exclusive? We couldn't even get the biggest game that's on our platform that we owned exclusive. So it just seems like the plan changed over the course of the last 4 to 5 months. That who really knows exactly what's going on? So I don't know, B. It's kind of crazy when you sit here and you think about all the different moves that could have happened that could be different if one little thing like exclusivity happened on the game, or maybe they sold 4% more consoles instead of selling 3%, they sold 7%, or maybe 10% more. It's all in the numbers, but we don't know the numbers though.
Right. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You know, I mean, when you're talking percentages, it means nothing if we don't know what the base number is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right about that.
It's up. It's up, man. I never thought we'd be here. Never thought we'd be here, bro. I knew that it was like, we talked about how, like listen, shout out to King. King is the most entertaining person in the world. This man has been talking about the demise of PlayStation for the last couple of years, saying it won't be a PS6, won't PS6, be this, won't be that. And this man that probably talked us into a grave when it comes to Xbox. Xbox, it looks more likely that Xbox won't have a next gen console before PlayStation won't have one. It's just crazy. Like, just think about where we are. And then, like you said earlier, BRAP, they just came off one of the best directs they've had. They finally got games coming out. Yeah, they finally have a listen. This year, possibly, depending on how the games are, this is a year possibly that they could convince people to buy an Xbox, but they don't even trust it themselves.
Yeah, I just think it's this. It always comes to me. It's money. There's aspects of their business that are underperforming. They just spent all this money on Activision. You know, I heard you mention Forte. They couldn't get Call of Duty exclusive. That they couldn't because it wouldn't have passed. It would have gone through. The regulators would probably never approve that. And
well, that's why they broke down to what they got.
they everyone was like, "Oh, the Play is mobile. The Play is mobile." To an extent, but the problem is they can't get their own app store on iOS or Android because neither one of those platforms are allowing other stores on those devices, on those operating systems. So, like, it's just.
Remember, Satya Nadella said that one thing they wish they would have never did was get out of the mobile market.
Yeah, well, because they would have had their own. Yeah, they would have had their own.
Because they would have had their own entry point.
Yeah, and now they don't. They don't have that. I mean, it's
maybe they'll buy Verizon. Who knows?
Oh my God, they should not be buying anyone else. Let's not.
Maybe they'll buy Verizon.
Yeah,
who knows?
Let's not do that. I want to grab this super chat real quick from Keith Thomas II. Thank you, Keith, $5 super chat says Sony and Microsoft often lose money on consoles at first, but profit from software later. Skipping hardware for direct software profit is logical.
Keith Thomas II.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
A super chat?
Yeah.
That's my brother's name.
Is that your brother? Your brother's
On
in the
YouTube.
chat.
Yeah, that's my brother's name.
He said skipping hardware for direct software profit is logical. That's what he's saying. Yeah, there you go.
That is him.
That's your brother.
That's his
yeah.
picture.
Look at
that
him.
Is my
Forte.
brother. Oh yeah, I see the picture. Look at him
Yeah.
looking all dapper and working for Hotwire. Look at that man looking all good.
Hey Keith, I want to say thank you for watching the show, sir. We love your brother Forte, and thank you for that super chat. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, they could skip the hardware for direct software, but where would they put their store at? See, that's the thing. Where would they house the store if they didn't have hardware?
They would just be. I mean, they would be real third party at that point.
But where?
I mean, everywhere. Like they would have to release games on PlayStation 5. You know, get that.
No, but I think
yeah.
he was talking about both. You know what I mean? As far as PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh. Yeah. If you don't have the hard, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I
mean, you know, 'cause I think we will eventually get to that point where, you know, where there is no hardware. But then, you know, where is the store? You know what I mean? Like, is a store just on our TV directly?
Maybe.
Is it, you know?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, that would completely break down the wall, because at that point, I mean, you could be a fan of these brands, but for what reason? The controller? To say you like, you know, a specific store over another? You know what I mean?
My brother said, "Can he come in here?"
Yeah, send me the invite.
Sure.
He said, "I'll send you the invite." All right.
Yeah, send him the invite, Forte. Hey B, what do we get more controllers next week? I'm joking.
Nah, man.
I'm joking. Joking.
I think this business event is going to not be what people think it is. I think it's going to be Satya there. I think Tim Stewart's going to be there. Maybe even Amy Hood there. I think you know, Phil may be there. Maybe Sarah Bond, because she's the president of Xbox now. But I think this is going to be a lot of Microsoft talk, not a lot of Xbox talk.
Yeah, I agree with you, B. I think this is probably investor talk.
Yes.
Hey, this is what we're doing with our business. This is the pivot we're making. You know, what everyone's speculating is what that exact pivot is, but something's changing, because whatever they're doing now,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, whatever is happening now, I think is, and if you believe the rumors of a kind of an internal struggle, those things typically happen when you have one side of the business that feels like they should stay the course. The other's like, no, we're not doing that anymore because it doesn't make sense financially anymore.
Right.
I've seen those conversations. It's yeah. Forte, is your brother hopping on?
Yeah. I'm sending him the invite now.
All right. I have about like 10, 15 minutes left before I got to go. But I definitely want to get your brother on, and that's awesome. He wants to come on.
Is he a big gamer, Forte?
Man, the man almost as big a gamer as I am.
I heard he's a bigger gamer than you.
Good.
He probably is.
Yeah. Slomo says you don't play a lot of games, Forte. Is that true?
I'm sending it to you now.
Shannon.
You know, it's funny. Forte pops up on my Facebook.
And Helldivers 2 got 101,000 concurrent players on Steam right now.
That would be the most for a Sony published game though on Steam, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I thought Sony had dropped the gas bag. P-Money.
Nah, man, I told y'all those games are coming, man.
I thought they were in trouble.
Oh man, gotta tell people, man. Don't listen to all the bullshit. Don't listen to it.
Live service games are it's difficult to get into. I mean, you have like 5 juggernauts in that space, but all right. I want to welcome Forte's brother. I think.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Man, it took you guys forever to read my super chat.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
I was bloviating for a while.
Yeah, Forte was ranting. So we want to know something, Clyde. We want to know who's the bigger gamer, you or Forte?
I would say right now he is, but I'm the better gamer.
Oh
God.
Oh, there we go.
Right.
Yeah, he's quantity. I'm quality.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically he's trying to say he PlayStation, I'm Xbox.
Forte, are you? Who's the older brother?
I am by 3 years.
That is correct.
Yeah. Oh man, your younger brother is roasting you, Forte.
Listen, he can say whatever he wants to say. The only games he's ever been better than me in is Madden, sports games basically, and
all fighters
and fighting games. That's it. Nothing else.
I'm better than his shooters too, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's a bridge too far right there.
Yeah. My energy has died down. I was listening to the initial parts. Excuse me, when you guys were talking about, the Xbox kind of transitioning away from the dedicated fan base and the consoles. I'm sitting here like, do they understand the profit isn't with the hardware, even the community? They care about overall sales total. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Like I said in the super chat, typically, unless you're Nintendo, you typically lose money initially on your consoles and you hope to make that money back on software sales. So if you can just skip that initial cost of hardware and make the money off the software, where do you care where the revenue comes from as long as you're getting the revenue without the overhead of developing, manufacturing, and doing customer service for hardware? I think logistically it makes more sense for them to transfer over to a wider base to put their games everywhere.
Well, guess what, little brother? You're absolutely correct. But the thing that you're wrong is the fact that the fans, the people that they tried to sell these consoles to, and told them that they were exclusive games and that they're moving over from that type of the economy is the thing that people got problems with right now. It's not the fact, because you're absolutely right in what you're saying. You definitely, the more places you got your games, the more money and revenue you'll make. But when you built your platform off exclusive games and you told people that all of these purchases that you made are for exclusive purchases when it comes to the people that are going to be on your platform, that's where everybody feels the rub is kind of wrong at that point.
How long have you been at GameStop now?
Oh, Lord, here we go. 2009.
Okay, so over 10 years.
Yeah.
You've seen the transition of GameStop doing strictly games to going over to collectibles and apparel. And I'm pretty sure people walked into GameStop like, what the bleep is this? I don't care about these
They do
mugs.
to this day still.
Yes. But eventually, as a company, to survive, you must be diversified. You have to kind of change with the market. So, and customers typically will change with it. Typically. Now,
Right.
You'll lose those 5 or 10% of very hardcore Xbox people, but you'll probably inherit 30, 40, 50% of new customer base to your games that otherwise wouldn't have bought a Halo or wouldn't have bought a, goodness gracious.
Here's the war.
Thank you. God, their exclusives are so kind of whack now.
Good God, dog.
Like if you go back to original
Kinda whack
Xbox,
now.
man, listen, you had that cartoon kind of Twisted Metal game. You had NFL Fever football, the Fever game. They had so many exclusives that are gone now. But I just think as a whole, you have to evolve, and eventually people will either evolve with you or they'll die off.
Is it evolving going to PC though?
Absolutely.
Put your games on PC day and date. That's bringing in an extra revenue stream that you didn't have before. Why
Right.
do we have to? Why do we have to go full Kojima and give them everything?
So what I'm saying, and this is just one person's perspective,
Right. That's
is-
we value it.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Forte, why you been hiding your brother from us?
What do you mean? No, because you don't need more of me out here.
No,
Yeah,
he's
I'm
not. No, trust me,
surprised.
he's not you,
You don't
Forte.
need more me.
We need more Forte's brother on the show. He needs to be on DPS.
No,
he needs to be on this show more.
He's been on
Hey,
DPS a couple of times.
Clive, you are welcome anytime you want to come on, BRAP, sir. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
His name is K-Live, not Clive.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
K-Live. I'm sorry.
I've officially adopted Kalive because that's what everyone says, and now it's grown on me, and I like it.
All right, Clive,
okay, well,
there we
there
go.
you
But thank you for standing up for me, big bro. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
But seriously though, and I've begged to come on the podcast a bunch. By the way, my brother never. He says yes, and I never get an invite. So.
Oh, really?
No,
Probably.
that is not true.
Where's Slow Mo?
I don't know. if he wasn't on, it was Slow Mo's fault. Whatever.
Oh, but as I was gonna say, in regards to what you just said, Natakel. Oh, I just called you Natakel. I went back to your old name. I'm so sorry. Blasphemy. I'm sorry. So Forte.
Oh man, I love it.
So yeah, so Forte, what I was saying is, it's about getting your. And let's take this to like the streets, like the drug lords type deal, right? I don't care who runs the block. If I can sell my product in their territory, that's still revenue for me. I don't care if it's on handhelds, Nintendo. If Nintendo wants to take out Master Chief and put in Mario and give him an overshield and a freaking pistol, I'm good with it. It's all about where you can get your product in as many people's hands as possible, because the money outside of Nintendo has never been with the hardware. It's always with software.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, and
Always.
that's what I said. I said eventually this is what we would come to, where all of their software would be everywhere, because that's what makes the most.
Correct.
So
Because the days of exclusives are gone. Like, I mean, when is the last time the PS5 launched? What was a killer app? Please tell me.
Spider-Man was the last one.
But that was a remastered what was on PS4, correct?
No, they had Spider-Man 2 just released.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, but I know what you mean. But I know what
a launch title with the system.
A launch title.
What was the killer app that launched with the PS5?
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales.
But it was cross-gen.
Yeah, exactly. What was actually they had the Killzone, wasn't it? Didn't Killzone launch with it? The graphics.
So you talking about PS5 or PS4?
Oh, see, that was even godly. That's how long I've been on PC.
oh man,
Right. But what I'm saying
how
is,
long I've been
literally,
on PC.
like when I bought an Xbox Series X and a PS5, my brother said, "For what? You're not gonna play it."
I do. He literally harped me about, man, I want to get a PS5. Hey, what's your login to your PlayStation so I can play your games? I was like, why? Because you're not going to play them. You got a PC. You got a 4090. What do you need a PC? What do you need to do that for?
Correct. But what I was getting at is the launch titles that normally go with a brand new system or hardware. It's non-existent. So it doesn't. I don't see the benefit of a company to develop this hardware when there's no software to drive the hardware sales. The hardware sales until much later.
PS5 did release some exclusives.
Demon Souls. That's it.
Demon Souls, and then shortly after came, what was it? Returnal.
You talk. Well, that was in May. So you're talking to what? 6 months later.
Yeah.
But that's my exact point. But you can name a bunch of PS2 launch titles and PS1 launch titles and Xbox 360 and original Xbox. It's those games that drove sales for hardware. They're so far and few between now, which is why I actually think you're doing your company, any company, a disservice when you're leaving sales on the table. You're trying to lose 80% of your revenue to take care of 30% of your base that only gives you 20% revenue. And I'm huge into finances, so I'm a big bottom line guy, and I'm a gamer like to my heart and soul, right? Me and my brother been gaming since we were 5 and 6 years old. But what I can tell you now is I don't care where the game is. I want to play it where it runs the best and looks the best. And sorry, most of the time that's on PC. I know you guys have a big console fan base.
No, we agree. No. We all agree here.
Live, we are. I'm on PC. We call ourselves the Champagne Room Gamers. But go ahead.
Champagne Room Gamers.
But yes,
I'm going to change the name of the podcast to that. By the way,
let's go. Let's go. But that's my 2 cents on it, though. And because I was literally like, what is he talking about? When he was just saying, I forgot where you're going to lose the hardcore fans. I'm like, you don't, just transparency. You don't want those hardcore people. A lot of times when you're that dedicated, you're only buying 1 or 2 games, and those are the exclusives most of the time, right? Most of the time. You want the guy who wants to buy every game, not beat anything because he has the expendable income to go buy 10, 15 games a month because they don't have the bandwidth to be fanboys, right? They have a job, they have wife, they have kids, responsibilities. Those guys who get online and talk about, oh, my system is better than yours, that's their whole life. What do you want? They're $200 a year? Or do you want the guy who got the 10 grand expendable income?
Well, that's just like we were talking about yesterday on the podcast, where it comes down to, if you take like exclusive games, like for PlayStation, like PlayStation has more people that play single player games than they have that play multiplayer games. But the thing is, if you look at the sales, Call of Duty outside of last year, because last year was the first year that another game outside of Grand Theft Auto beat Call of Duty in sales when it was Hogwarts Legacy. And then I think Zelda beat it, so it was in 3rd place. But if you take those numbers, you say, okay, for every 5 people that buy Call of Duty, you got 2 people that play way more hours than those 5 people play the Call of Duty. But those 5 people, they only played the game for 1 hour a day, maybe 2, because like you said, they have those jobs where they're construction workers. They probably work 80 hours a week. And, compared to the person that does single player games, might be that person that, works at home and can, just sit at their computer and play games all day when they're not doing anything. But one is just because like the number of the hours being played doesn't match up to like the amount of games that people are buying, and the people with that disposable income that don't mind beating a game, I just want to experience it. I just want to jump in and play a little bit. I want to play 2 games of Madden, or maybe I want to play a game of Ultimate Team in FIFA or something like that, or I want to go play against my brother in NBA, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Those are the people they're really going after, because those are the ones that's going to buy multiple copies of games. They'll probably double dip. It's going to be somebody like B Money that's going to go into the park and going to spend about $3,000 on his characters, because he doesn't want to be left behind. Shout out to the people that still do that. And I think those are the ones that Microsoft really wants, compared to the hardcore gamer that gets mad when they take their games off the platform and put them somewhere else.
Agreed. I hear you guys. And first of all, I want to say I love you guys' podcast, and I'm so stoked that I'm just on here talking right now. So if my energy is too high, I'm sorry.
Shut up. Clive,
go for a drive. Go for a drive in your car. Man,
it is all good.
I don't drive my car. My car drives itself.
But you and Forte are very much alike, by the way. I love it.
I'm surprised no one has said we sound alike yet.
You guys do kind of sound like, although I got to say, Forte, I love you, man, but I like your brother a little bit better, and I just met him.
That's all right, because you just met me.
Yeah, so, and Slobo says hello, by the way, Clive. He says hello.
I said, what's up?
Yeah, so I told Slobo the DM, I was like, Forte's brother just joined us. He's like, I said, what's up? So, well, look, gentlemen, I do need to wrap up the show. Hey, Clive, we got to get you back on, sir. This has been a wonderful surprise. I didn't actually. Forte may have mentioned that he had a brother, but I didn't know his brother played video games, was a better gamer than him, and would make a great guest anytime on BRAP. So, sir, you are welcome anytime you want to come on the show.
Man, I appreciate that, and I'll say something to your listeners right now. If this podcast ever gets a total of $100 worth of super chats, I will tell some super duper embarrassing stories about Forte.
Oh, okay.
No.
And I mean, they're going to be drop dead hilarious, and all of it will be true.
Yeah, they'll all be true, because I already know where you're going. There's probably about 5 of them I can think off the top of my head. We ain't trying to relive none of that stuff, bro. We were young.
Memories never die.
That's Soul Calibur. Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to shut it up so he can wrap it up.
I just think it's funny that Forte, that your brother came here and said he's a better gamer than you, better at shooters.
Well, it's because he uses a mouse. I mean, he uses the controller. I use the mouse and keyboard.
And I dominate people with that controller, even on PC.
So I'm trying to figure out why Forte still games on PC on console. He's like,
I've been playing predominantly on PC lately, though.
I don't know. I like your brother's part of the champagne room of gamers. So I told you, Forte, you got one foot in, the other foot out. Listen,
when they come out with I'm not buying the 4090. When the 5090 comes out, then I'll be PC all day. Cause I'm saving up for that.
Yeah. By the way, Jack Boob Johnny says I thought that was Forte.
Right,
you said what? What'd you say?
What you got right now? What's your GPU?
3070 Ti. Okay. I'm good where I'm at now. I don't feel the draw like slow-mo backslap to go out and spend.
Yeah, he get into the GPU every Tuesday. So
that's what I said. I was like, I say, bro, you should never spend more money on GPUs than you do on games you buy in a year. You shouldn't do that. That shouldn't be happening, bro. So
hey, leave that man alone, man. Leave that man alone.
Listen, man, that man be out here spending.
He even got addicted to the numbers, man.
I know
all the videos. You want that little 3% margin.
And then he'll tell you, it's like, I didn't pay full price for it. I sold my last GPU and put that money towards. I was like, but you still bought another one.
Come on, man. Leave that. Hey, stop popping. Leave slow. He's not here to defend himself. You know.
At least he ain't as bad as my brother. My brother go out and buy a brand new laptop just because it's got slightly better specs.
I'm a laptop connoisseur.
And then he'll sell what he just got like a month ago just because it's just isn't enough to snuff. He's like one of those people that go to CE. He'll like watch CES and then he'll be like, "Oh man, that looks really good." And then as soon as it drops, he has it. And I'm like, "Why do you have that?" And he was like, "Because."
I'm gonna send you a picture. I literally just got to mail the new G14 today.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Why? Why did he do this?
I'm about to start my YouTube tech channel with.
I went to go visit him when he was living in Tennessee still, and I go through his garage, and he has like 3 TVs, like it is in the living room. It is in his garage. I was like, why do you have 4 TVs sitting in here? He's like, well, they were on clearance.
Yeah,
they were really good deals at
I'm
Walmart.
I'm gonna ask everybody but Forte, if you could get a $3,000 LG OLED for $300, how many would you buy?
I'd buy 10.
Oh yeah,
exactly. I bought every one they had in the store.
Yeah, why would it?
And they were just sitting in his garage.
That's fine.
And he gonna say, he was like, "Do you want one?" I was like, "Sure." He's like, I said, "Well, how we get it home?" He said, "You got to pay for shipping." I was like. I was like, man, good God.
Forte, if you guys live, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, say Forte. I really like your brother. I am vibing with the energy he puts out.
Well, I appreciate you, brother.
You gotta let us know about your channel, man.
Yeah,
well, I'm just getting started. Yeah, I'm about to get it started. So again, I got about 4 laptops on deck. I'm actually doing a review right now for the App Vision or whatever, the Vision Pro, whatever the heck the dang headset is called.
Did you buy that?
So essentially, because what I do for a living, I got it for free.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, your job.
Yeah. Because we're building, our company's building an app, and they're trying to be all futuristic. Like, hey, get with RT guys, see what you like about it. Is something doable? So it's not. I got it for like maybe a month, and this one just sit in our office for people to play with. But what I was going to tell, a big shout out to everybody if you want a tip on how to save money. If you live by a micro center, and Not a Kill has done this, by the way.
Sure have.
You can buy a replacement plan for all major components, video card, motherboard, processor, or a monitor. And if it ever, this is the key word, does not perform like the day it did out of the box. So I'll give you an example. I bought a 3080 Ti. When graphics cards were through the roof, it cost me $2,200. I went in when the 4090 came out. I said, this card no longer overclocks like it did the day I got it. They gave me a gift card for $2,200. And I went and bought the 4090 for $1,600. And then you just buy the warranty again, which is like, I think $120. And I'm pretty sure they're going to fill that loophole one day. They might actually test it. But right now, you just tell them it's not working properly. They give you a gift card.
He ain't lying. I did that with my screen.
Oh, that is awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, I did that with my GPU.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
there you go.
I'm gonna. Go
I
to
just did
Micro
that
Center
with
from
my
now on.
monitor when I upgraded from my 1440p monitor to my 1600p one, and it's a 38 inch from a 34 inch. I literally just walked in, said there was a pixel, I had a dead pixel. They didn't even turn the screen on. They was like, oh, okay, and they looked up my receipt, gave me a gift card for like $900, and off I went. They don't care, man. Long as you buy those warranties, that's all that matters to them.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure
That's their money.
Yeah, I was
Most
gonna say
people
that.
don't use them.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say that.
so-
B.
Man, thank you guys for having me on, man. I had a blast in this short time. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely. Hey, seriously, Clive, K-Live, you need to come back on BRAP. We need to have you back on the show, sir. It has been a pleasure. It really has. Forte, come on, man. You can't be hiding your brother from us like this, man.
Don't hide him.
Yeah,
Everybody know where he know where I'm at.
Yeah, Forte
He be
is
too busy. He be too
Microsoft
busy
makes
for
their
me.
announcement, man. You should definitely come back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Clive,
Lord.
come back next week. We go live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh my God.
Oh, trust me, I'm fully aware because typically I'm gaming around that time.
Okay.
And the reason you guys it got recommended in my recommended stream. So
I was wondering, how do you
God,
even know we was here?
It was on my recommended.
Look at that.
And I went in. I'm like, oh crap, it's my brother. And I'm listening, and I'm like hitting my keyboard, like, what is he talking about? $5. They better. And then listen, you know how steamy I was. I'm gonna pay this $5. They better read this.
He texted me.
I'm texting Forte. Read my super chat.
And Forte didn't even tell me anything. Forte
I
didn't say
didn't know.
anything.
I didn't see it until I looked at my phone. I was like, "There's no way he didn't text me about him being in the chat." And then I looked and I was like, "Oh yeah, 11 minutes ago he said read my super chat."
That's hilarious. Yeah, I did see your super chat. I apologize. We were just having a conversation. Sometimes
He didn't know you were my brother. He would have read it a lot
and also
faster.
if I had known, had Forte
Doesn't it
alerted
pop
me.
up on the? I'm sorry. Doesn't it pop up on the screen though? Normally, if I ever did a super chat, it actually shows.
Well, we don't interrupt people when they're in their flow of talking. So when people are talking, we wait till they're done, then we read super chats. So
does the host have to put it? Because when I was on your podcast, Forte, when I sent the money, it actually popped up on your screen.
Oh yeah, he probably doesn't have Streamlabs. He doesn't have all that stuff.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, no, I do hear the notification. It pops up. It actually pops up on the live stream. But like Forte was saying, like if we're having a conversation, I won't typically stop the conversation to get the super chat.
All right, get out of here. We got to get out of here, man, before you fall in love with my brother more than you already have.
Oh, he's awesome.
I know
Clive,
he is.
Clive, you want to come
Ain't
back?
nothing new.
You want to come back next week again, live Wednesday night, 9 p.m. If you want to come back, join us. Hopefully we have some.
I will be there.
All right, there you go. 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have Forte's brother back. I love Forte. This is awesome, Forte. This is great.
He can come. He can be part of our football podcast when we do. He loves that too.
we got to do that. The draft's coming up. Super Bowl this Sunday. Yeah, we got to talk about that.
That's a whole nother conversation. Y'all seen the prices of these Super Bowl tickets?
Astronomical.
It's insane.
That's because Taylor Swift's there.
Y'all see the prices they charging people for regular stuff?
For regular
soda?
stuff.
How much is soda?
So, like a liter or like the 20-ounce Pepsi is like $9.
It's like $9, bro.
Godly.
I was like, they charge you Super Bowl tax in Vegas where they already taxed you because you in Vegas.
$9 for a soda. That is insane. Talk about cash grab.
Listen,
Man, you can go to
out there
Sam's
paying.
Club and get like a 50-pack of Sprite for that.
That's crazy. I bet you a beer is like $16.
Probably 20. Wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
it might be closer to 20.
Glad I don't drink.
That is crazy. Hot dogs like $25.
It ain't even as
If
good as
you want something
Nathan.
to eat at the Super Bowl, you might as well.
Oh
pack
yeah,
them
yeah.
up.
You better sneak that stuff in through your pants leg.
Like we did at the movies.
It's like,
Oh,
what
man,
am I
that's
paying
funny.
for this?
That is funny. All
A
right.
hot ready costs the price of a Pizza Populous pizza that costs $40 normally.
Yeah. All right. Well, barring any breaking news on Monday, we'll have our regular scheduled BRAP Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Forte's brother will be with us. And
Super chat.
Super chat. Here we go. Super chat. I'm gonna say Prasad because I can't pronounce the first name, but the $5 super chat says, though the software makes money, not consoles, 30%, the 30% of COD, FIFA, etc., is the reasons for selling their consoles, that their profit more than software. Thank you for that $5 super chat, sir. I appreciate it. So I guess what he's saying is like they make additional. I guess what he's saying is they make additional revenue by selling the hardware.
But that's why they're not going to get out of the console business.
My question is this, and I'll ask this to the room: would you rather have 10,000 sales and make $50, or would you rather make 1 million sales and make 20? You would pick the million with 20. It's again, that's the volume play. Even though you're making less money per sale, you have significantly more sales. How many Xboxes are there in the world versus PCs, Nintendo Switches, and PS5s and other handhelds?
Yeah, see, the only thing about that is, like this super chat is saying, if they got away from consoles and they just release software, let's just say it's on a different store, it's not on their own store, that 30% mark that they're losing on all the other software that they do sell, that would be a major hit. Like, the biggest games in the industry are all sports games besides Call of Duty and Fortnite. So if you look at every year, Madden sells a large portion, and people spend beyond the $100 that it costs them, if they're getting the ultimate bundle. The average person who buys a sports game is going to spend an additional $200 to $300 just on buying Ultimate Team, buying VC, creating characters. So when you take that additional revenue away, that becomes a larger hit than just selling the software. And I think
I get
that is the biggest problem from stepping away from the console, because if you don't have additional revenue from all the other stuff that people can buy and they're just buying your software, that's great. And you can sell it to more people. You're taking a bigger hit because you don't like I said before, PlayStation, a lot of people are on PlayStation because they're not releasing first party content. But they're making so much money off people just buying a console and buying other games there that it's not putting enough pressure on them to be like, we got to have this exclusive content.
See, but
they're making so much money off of 2K, making so much money off of Madden.
But how many 2Ks are there, though? How many Maddens? How many 2Ks? How many CODs? Right? Look at how many video games are released a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's insane. Versus those juggernauts, right, that you're speaking of right now. I guarantee you, it's like the army of ants fighting the hornet, right? The hornet's going to lose because it's just pure volume of numbers.
Yeah.
But is
it Xbox? But is it
But
Xbox?
it's all the games.
Right,
Yeah,
but you're not, but you're not hearing what I'm saying, right? They're not getting rid of Xbox. Those true people are going to still be on their consoles. And let's say if it goes away completely, they'll just build a PC, because now you can build a PC for $500, $600, and they'll get Xbox Game Pass. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, I think the difference between Xbox and PlayStation is that Xbox isn't really they're not making any money on hardware now. Like PlayStation is actually making.
They're profitable.
Yeah, very small margins, but they're profitable.
Man, Xbox out here losing hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. And Nintendo's the masters of this, by the way, because they don't R&D.
Profit off hardware.
Yeah, they don't R&D. They don't R&D like cutting edge technology in their hardware.
We go sell you the same thing for 7 years.
Yeah, they take old parts, put it together in a console, and have incredible. I would.
We're going to announce a brand new. We're going to announce a brand new console and say it's going to have an LCD screen so we can upsell you 4 years later. Give you an OLED.
Yeah. But hey, gentlemen, I don't mean to cut the conversation short. This is a great conversation.
Read my mind.
But K-Live, we got to get you back on to continue this conversation too. So yeah, come back Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And everyone, again, have a great weekend. Enjoy. Look, just enjoy playing video games. It's all about having fun. At its very core, gaming is about having fun. So just focus on that. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time. Big shout out to B Money and Gaming Forte. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Can I say something positive to wrap it up with you real quick?
Go ahead.
If you, and I said this before, if you can listen to this podcast, you have a nice phone, a nice computer, a nice monitor, you're winning in life. There are people in the world who would kill to be able to have internet connection with a nice device to listen to an awesome podcast like this. Like he said, if you can game and you can wake up in the morning and do what you want to do, for the most part, you are winning in life. And never, ever forget it. There's people who would kill to have what you have right now just to be able to listen to this amazing podcast. Never forget it.
That's a great point. And I want to thank K-Live, Forte's brother, for joining us. Really appreciate it. This was great, K-Live. Forte, don't hide your brother anymore, man. That's all I got to say. So thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone hit that like button if you haven't done so already. If you're new to the show, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. Again, everyone have a great weekend. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Later.